diffuse. Trade fights for better views. We both need something new. Maybe we should just tell them.
Hello, hive-minded readers, and welcome to the Books and the Bees podcast. Just like bees play a crucial role in pollinating flowers and sustaining life, books pollinate minds and nurture the soul. We see the connection between the two, the delicate dance of ideas and stories that enrich our lives.
I'm Hailey.
I'm Cody.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome.
That was my second intro try, and I biffed it, and I'm just going to roll with it.
That was funny.
I'm realizing after reading this now, this is episode 48, so
Wow.
between the two of us, we've read it 24 times.
Dang.
It's kind of a tongue twister.
It is.
Yeah. The delicate dance of ideas. And
Yeah.
Sustaining life. Pollinating flowers and sustaining life feels like it flows together.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It is a mouthful.
It is.
It is a mouthful.
It is. But that's our intro. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Woohoo! Listen, if you made it this far, we're like almost done with the year, and like congratulations to you, listener, who is listening. Hopefully you've listened to the majority of our episodes.
Yeah.
And
if it's your first episode, welcome.
Yeah,
we
welcome.
don't usually biff our intro so badly, but there it is. We do a pretty good job 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we're human, so, shit happens.
Yep. It is live every time. We do it every
Yep.
time. So, it's authentic.
We're just out here.
Yeah, we're out here every day. Hailey, living the dream. How are you, Hailey?
I'm tired. I think I'm getting sick. I told you, earlier that I have that like throat soreness going on right now.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and like all day. Well, this whole week I've been really tired, which is fairly normal for me. I'm a very tired person, but I've been like extra, like bone tired, like fall asleep at like 6 p.m. tired. So I knew something was wrong. I was like, there's something. So
we've been really tired too, but I think it's just the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It also gets really dark here really early. Like really, it's like dark at like 4:30.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, we're totally getting just lack of sunlight and all sorts of stuff. So I'm drinking Earl Grey tea right now to try to sustain me through this recording.
Let's go.
It should be coffee, but I'm trying to like decrease my coffee consumption because I've been super bad about it lately. So
Aw.
yeah, trying to work on it, but still got some caffeine to help me through.
Yeah. I like probably drink 2 cups of coffee max during the day.
That's like what I start the morning with.
Yeah.
And then I have another 2 cups to be my actual cup.
Yeah. I just get like terrible heartburn. I don't know, like getting older, coffee
yeah.
gives me the worst heartburn, so I have to be really careful.
Yeah. I'm thankful I don't get heartburn from coffee, but tomato sauce does it.
Oh yeah, tomato sauce. The bane to my existence. But
It's
also
rough.
so good. How dare it?
Yeah, I know. It tastes delicious.
How have you been, Cody?
I've been good. Like I said, I'm also tired. Living the life. Have a bunch of stuff at work happening right now. In fact, right before we met up in this chat, I submitted a application to go to a conference next year, which was fun, and did a bunch of work. So we're just out here vibing.
It sounds exciting.
Yeah, trying to get wrapped up for the end of the year with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like the like season is supposed to be slow, but everyone that I know that has a job, which is everyone, they are all like, things are crazy, everything's ramping up, like end of the year, like getting everything done. It's terrible and I hate it.
Yeah, this year, this is going to be interesting. This is usually the time where like I'm planning out the conferences I go to, and I'm not going to go to as many as I usually do, which is nice because I won't have to travel as much, but also means I will be doing less exciting things. So, but it's how it is.
Yeah. Any like places you want to go? Like absolutely like bucket list?
I would love to go to a conference in a new city. None of the ones that I usually go to have changed into a new city. So I was probably going back to Chicago next year,
nice.
which is the city that I hate the most.
Oh, that's true.
Because it's so much. It's just hard to travel there
Yeah.
and do stuff
Yeah.
for work. Maybe if I was there for like a week for fun, it'd be okay. But I've only traveled there for work, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And then the other place is Orlando, which I also don't like that
Ew.
much.
Yeah.
I know. And I think probably DC again next year,
Nice.
which I do like DC. But yeah, nothing. I would love to go to like a foreign country, any place besides Orlando and Chicago. Might go to San Diego. Might go to San
nice.
Diego next year, which I do love too. So we'll see.
Yeah. San Diego's
But
the
those are all
shit.
places I've been. Yeah, I love San
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah.
No place fun.
No.
Yeah. But I am reading a really fun new book, so we should transition into
Tell me about
what
it.
book we're reading.
Tell me
I
about it.
can't wait. All right, so I will say I'm reading book 2 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series that I talked about last week.
Oh, yeah.
The second book is called Carl's Doomsday Scenario. Matt Dinniman's the author, and it is narrated. I should actually look and see who it's narrated by real quick.
Yeah. Dinniman. That makes me think of Doug Dimmadome from Fairly
Yeah,
Odd
me
Parents.
too. I've actually said that to myself. I'm Doug Dimmadome. I'm from Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Dimmadome.
Have you seen the Halloween costumes with like the tremendously
Yes.
tall hats? I
Yes.
love them so much. They're so fun.
I was happily not surprised, but I don't know. I just love seeing those this last Halloween. It was great.
They are really fun. Okay, the narrator is Jeff Hayes, who,
okay.
by the way, does an absolutely chef's kiss, fantastic job. He does really great Carl voice. He does a really great Princess Donut voice, and he's just really good. So go listen to the audiobooks if you can. They're fantastic. I really love them. I won't talk about the second book because it really is heavily playing off the first book, but I am super into the series, and I'm definitely going to be continuing with it as it goes. So stay tuned because I'll probably talk about it. But yeah, great one. And then I just started a book that I really only heard about a couple weeks ago, but it's been on my radar for a little while. Like I've seen the cover of it, but I'd never heard about what it was about until I listened to it on a podcast. And it's called The Pairing by Casey McQuiston, who is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Yes.
That was a very popular queer romance.
I need to read that.
Like 4 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. And it's one that I've always wanted to read, just haven't gotten around to.
Same.
Well, I heard about this book, decided to put it on hold. It came off hold today during my lunch break type thing that happened today. And I decided to start it. So I have just a little bit of the intro because I really, really have not gotten very far into it. But it's about these two bisexual exes who they started off as best friends who were secretly in love with each other. Then they ended up dating for a little while, and then they broke up.
No.
But before they broke up, they had signed up for this European food and wine tour, and it didn't expire. And so they both separately decide to go on the trip before it does expire and realize that they're both on the same tour. And they decide to make a competition of who can romance the sexy tour leader first. So it seems like it's going to be a very fun, cute book. Sort of like lovers to enemies to lovers, maybe? Friends to lovers to enemies to lovers.
Some frenemies?
Yeah. But I'm really excited. It's been a great... I've only read the first 2 or 3 chapters, but I'm really loving it. It is back and forth POV, and the cover's really cute. I think it's going to be a great book. I'm really excited to really dive into it. So stay tuned because I'll probably talk about it again. But it was really, really good. And it's been listed on the top books of this year, and I totally think it's going to be in that vibe. So I think the Hive Mind would really like it.
Hell yeah. It sounds messy, and I love that.
Yeah, it does sound messy. I do too. I love a good messy romance.
Yes. I don't know why, but when you were describing it, for some reason it sounded like a familiar story, not like a book story, but like a real life story that I've heard maybe on like TikTok or something.
Oh.
So wow, like that's, I don't remember what it was though, but it sounded familiar when you were describing it. So maybe I heard about the book before actually hearing about the book.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Maybe. I think you'd like it. I think you'd like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Hailey book for sure.
I love that.
All right, Hailey, what are you reading right now?
I love the note that you put in our show notes.
Right after I talk about my smutty book, I write smut for Hailey's read section.
Because like at this point, what else am I reading, honestly? No, I'm on book 4 of the J. Bree Bond,
Nice.
Savage Bonds, or whatever you want to call it.
You're breezing through that book.
Oh my gosh,
That
yes.
series.
It took me a little bit to get through the third one, but that's really just because of like time and life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm already in chapter 9 of book 4. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yes. I'm like cruising, so I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I don't want to say too much about it, but if you want to read the series, the first book is really good. And if you listen to last episode, you would know why. Because it was in my top list. So yeah,
Go
it's
listen
really
to that
good.
episode, by the way. I think it
Yeah.
was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun making that episode. So
Yeah, it was good. It
Yeah.
was a really good episode.
but yeah, that's what I'm reading. I'm trying to finish the series. I think there's 5 books in the series, if I remember correctly. So I'm like nearing the end, but yeah, good series.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love a good series.
Yeah.
Great. Well, should we jump into what? No. Should we jump into beekeeping? Man, I'm just totally wrecking up this whole system today.
It's okay. Beekeeping. Hell yeah, let's go.
Beekeeping. Hailey, do you have any beekeeping for us?
No.
Yeah. We have one thing that we both. This is a co beekeeping, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's shared.
It's light news. It's like everyone's preparing for New Year's, and
Yeah.
not a lot of books are coming out right now. They've already all come out, obviously. So yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of a chill time.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about it last week because we didn't have time with our top 10 books of the year. But the Goodreads 2024 Choice Awards was announced. The winners were announced for all the categories. They're up. You should go look at them and put them on your TBR. A lot of these are on my TBR already. Some of them I read. A lot of them we've talked about. So I'm just going to go through a few. For regular fiction, The Wedding People by Alison Eschbach. Kristen Hanna was historical fiction with the book called The Women. The romance book and the audiobook was Funny Story by Emily Henry,
Wow.
which was a great book. Have you read that one yet?
I haven't. I started the audio book like a month ago, but I just can't get into audiobooks anymore. It's just not in me, I don't think.
Yeah, audiobooks are great if you are able, like if you absorb the content through listening.
Yeah.
And it also takes the right kind of book. I think I've talked about this before, where I tried to read like a really dense sci-fi book as an audio, and it was just really hard because I couldn't follow like the names and the characters and the places and all that stuff. So it has to be a specific one for me. So I can relate to that.
Yeah.
But the narration was very good. I did love that particular narration. I listened to it and it was good. Sarah J. Maas won the romantasy category. No. Honestly, she shouldn't be nominated anymore because she wins every year. TJ Klune won for fantasies, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which I loved that book. It was so good. Yeah. Got it as an arc, and it was great. The Ministry of Time is a very popular book that I haven't had a chance to read yet, but I'm really excited to. Stephen King won the horror. Again, should not be nominated. Stephen King is 155 years old. He has so many accolades. He does not need to be winning the Goodreads Choice Awards. He's literally like a 80-time New York bestselling author. He does not need to be on this.
Yeah, seriously.
I will die on this hill.
Yeah. Homie pumps out a book like once a year. Like sometimes more than that. Like, come on.
The winner for the Goodreads Choice Awards. And it pisses me off, especially because Stephen Graham Jones was on it this year. And
other people deserve to be in the spotlight. Like, no offense to Stephen King or Sarah J. Maas or
Yeah.
any other like super well acclaimed freaking author. You deserve like the accolades. However, move over.
Yeah, and I feel like I would be upset if Goodreads made the decision, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think Stephen King should talk to Goodreads and be like, look,
Yeah.
I get it. Take me off the list. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to be on this list. Take me off the list.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I do like Stephen King. So
Yeah.
I haven't read this. It's a short story collection. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I do like him. But, there's other great horror besides Stephen King out there. So, Okay, moving off my soapbox. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong is debut novel winner. That's a book I've also heard really good things about. So, and it's in the romance genre as well. So I think it's one that we would like. Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross is young adult fantasy. I've heard that's good. It doesn't seem like it's my jam per se, but I've heard it's good. Heartstopper is young adult fiction by Alice Osman. Nonfiction is The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. Hadn't heard much about that book, but it seems something I might check out. The memoir was called The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, who plays the grandmother in Gilmore Girls.
Ooh.
So that might be an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And then History and Biography is The Bookshop, A History of the American Bookstore by Evan Friss. And that's a book I'm definitely going to read because I really, really am interested in that. Yeah. So there they are. Go check them out.
Yeah.
Go enjoy them.
Hell yeah. And go look at maybe the nominations or some shit. I don't know if that's possible, but...
it is possible.
Yeah.
You can.
Go check those out, because I feel like if they were nominated, then they're worth reading or looking into. So...
I believe you can, if you go into each category, you can see all the books nominated and how many votes they got. So that's fun. Yeah, go check them out. Yay. Yay,
cool.
Goodreads.
Yeah.
I like you sometimes. Not all the time, but I like you sometimes.
Sometimes you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you're good. You could get you need some work done, but you're fine.
Yeah,
You're
maybe
fine.
update your app once in a while.
Yeah. Or, change your background.
Please.
This is like the worst. I feel like we're talking to a spouse and it's like, you need to become more topical.
Yeah. You need to shower more. You could use a haircut every once in a while.
Yeah. Update your wardrobe.
Yeah. Could you do the dishes a little bit more? Like, come on.
Yeah.
For the record, that's
funny.
not how I talk to my husband.
Definitely, I certainly do not talk to my wife that way. That's for sure.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No. But I will say, when this episode comes out, the day after this episode comes out will be our 11th anniversary.
Aw,
dating.
Congrats.
Being together, I should say. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So, 11 years together, and then our wedding anniversary will be 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Long time.
Dang. It was a long time. I wonder how long my husband and I have been together. I don't want to do the math.
Quite a while.
Since 2012.
Oh, yeah. So, like,
Long time.
a year longer than us.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think. We were
It does
2013.
not feel that long.
Yeah.
Which is good, I
Time
guess.
flies. Yeah. Time flies. Yay.
Yay.
Should we jump into our topic for the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. This is our wrap up for all of our reading goals. So we've done updates every quarter throughout the year. And now we're really hitting the gridiron, finding out how well we did. If we failed miserably, if we succeeded brilliantly, we're going to duke it out and find out this episode. So we both have, I think we both have 4 goals that we set at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We're going to be chatting about them, and we're going to see how well we did. So, Hailey, do you want to start with your first one?
Sure. My first one was get out of only romance genres. Like I said, I think in the last episode, and probably every episode that we've talked about this, not doing so hot. In fact, I think I did terrible. I would love to actually look at the statistics, like if I had like a spreadsheet or something, which I wish I not to dog on Goodreads more, but like, come on. I'd love a graph.
Storygraph does does that now.
I know, and I think I need to not switch but add that to my arsenal, because it would be really great to at the end of a year see like how far I've come through the year. So but overarchingly,
well, you've seen my spreadsheet.
Your spreadsheet is intense.
Yeah, it is.
but like really cool. Also, like, I don't know if any of our listeners enjoy a good spreadsheet, like those are fun.
Oh yeah, the Book Riot. It's by Book Riot. They do it every year. It's called I think it's just called the Reading Book Log, and they do it every year, and they update it. Bunch of categories, really fun. I know a lot of people are using Storygraph because of the graph feature, which I feel like when I used it, there wasn't graphs in Storygraph, which makes it seems weird because it's called Storygraph. I think we
talked about that.
Yeah.
So
maybe I just didn't know how to do it or something, which is totally fair. I'm pretty dumb technologically, so it's very possible I just didn't see it. But I do hear a lot of people love the Storygraph graphs. So if you want a graph, go check out Storygraph.
Take a shot every time that we said graph in the last 10 minutes.
Literally.
I find that so funny that you say that you're technologically challenged given the nature of your job and stuff, like, since you're such a, like, big brain.
But I don't do like computer stuff. I mean, I code,
fair.
I guess, a little bit, but like I don't know. I'm not good with like learning new things. Like, when I get a new phone, I get pissed off because I don't know how to work anything, and it takes me forever to get used to it. And then once I do, I never want to change.
That's fair. Honestly, I'm kind of the same way with my I hate updating my phone. It drives me absolutely freaking nuts. Not that I'm not capable of doing that or anything. I have it on auto update, but like I don't know. The thought of like having to update any of my stuff for any reason just annoys me.
Yeah, I'm still running Windows 10 on this computer.
Oh my god,
I'm using right now because I don't want to update to Windows 11, even though my other computer is Windows 11. But
I feel like that's kind of fair though, because I feel like every time Windows has an update, it's like fuck.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it is. And I've just been too nervous with all all the podcast stuff, and then like the gaming stuff and the work stuff. Like it's just I just don't want to deal with it. So
yeah, that's fair. I say that's fair, but I can't relate because I have a Mac.
Which I would love a Mac if I could get over the technological hurdle of learning how to use a Mac. And I know I would get pissed. Just having the X icon being on the left would piss me off enough to where I would never use it.
I never noticed that. I never thought about that before.
It's the first thing. The first time I used a Mac, it's the first thing I noticed, and I was like, "This is dumb."
That's so funny.
This is dumb.
That's so funny. We have all Windows stuff at work, and I never thought about that because I'm working from a Windows computer all day long, and then come home to my Mac, and it's just like riding a bike.
You're built.
Yeah.
You're built for both. But I've only ever used Mac. Like I've used Mac once, maybe. So like I didn't grow up with it. I didn't use it as a kid at all.
Really? So. This is so tangenty, but I want to talk about this for a second because I don't know about you guys or maybe your listeners, but we grew up, I grew up in the cool Mac generation where like we were being introduced to computers and we had like the cool, like colorful see-through Mac computers.
Like the big ones?
Yeah. With the awesome. Like rounded back.
Yeah, those are very cool.
Yeah, and then when the Mac, the really fancy, nice Mac computers that are like one giant, they look like a TV. When those came out, we were like the guinea pigs in like the new computer room that was brand new, and we learned a bunch of crap on those computers, which was really cool.
Wow.
But yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've never used one extensively. Not till college when I used one for like printing something once, and I hated everything about it. And then I like how they look. I've always thought about
Mm-hmm.
getting one because they look amazing, and I do like the Mac mouse. But yeah, I'll never be able to teach myself not to do it.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's a great first reading goal that, I think it's totally fair to be in a genre because you love it. And, if you're not feeling like you're interested in other genres, there's no reason to read other genres,
Yeah. I agree. And I feel like last year was like my fantasy fairy era.
Yeah.
And then this year was like my contemporary romance era, which.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's really true. And yeah, romance, we talked about this before, but romance is a pretty big genre. There's a lot of different stuff. So it's fun to kind of explore that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I agree. What's your first goal that we should get into?
Yeah, my first goal is to read more diversely, which I talked about before. I feel like I have done a fairly good job with this over the last few years. In fact, I pulled up all the reading logs that I've used since I started it. And I have definitely transitioned into reading more books written by people of color and that are LGBTQ. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I think there's always improvement to be made. I think reading books that come from neurodivergent space and from the disabled space is something that I could improve on. Indigenous population is one that we talked about a few weeks ago, and I'm still, there are still aspects of that. I think one of my goals next year might be reading blank amount of books from an Indigenous author and from a disabled, author / protagonist, something like that. So I think I'm working on the right direction, and I will say it's great because now, if you asked me 5 years ago who I was reading, I would pretty much say Stephen King, or probably 90% of them were white male authors. And now it's a pretty good mix. And a lot of these authors are my favorite authors, like Stephen Graham Jones, who's Indigenous, and R.F. Kuang, who's from China. Like all sorts of authors that I hopefully would have been exposed to without this mission, but definitely reading more diversely has really introduced me to some amazing authors that I'm really, really happy I got to read. So yeah, great goal. It's one that I keep every year since I've started reading again, and I feel good about it. So it'll definitely be a goal for next year too.
Hell yeah.
Yay. Hailey, what's your second goal?
So my second goal was to read more tangible books. Because I think like last year I read so many of my books on my phone. And I feel like this year I've actually had quite a good mix. And I wish I would have actually, now that I'm talking about it, I wish I would have tracked it a little bit better. What I was reading on my phone versus what I was reading on my Kindle, what I read as like a physical copybook. But yeah, I think I did a really good job of doing a good mix, and I bought a shit ton of physical copy books. I really tried to like support a lot of authors this year.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that going into next year I can do the same. Because like now that I own some like signed books and some like special edition book like that, it's really cool. And I'm also really hoping that next year I'll actually have like a room to put all of my books to display them. Yeah, because that would be
hopefully really
fun too. So
yeah,
I think I did a really good job, and I'm actually currently reading something on my Kindle. That's what I'm reading, these the Bonds by Bree books, the series. I'm reading those on my Kindle, but yeah.
But that's a Kindle Unlimited, right?
Yes, Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great goal. It's one that I actually might do for next year too, because I have definitely transitioned into being an e-reader. Part of it's because I can adjust the font to be what I want it to be, so it's easier on my eyes, and reading at night's a lot easier because I can read in the dark. It's definitely a convenience factor, but there is nothing like holding a physical book and
Facts.
smelling the pages and going to the bookstore to get it.
Facts.
And all that stuff. Like, it's definitely really, really good. So I might try to incorporate more physical reading next year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. What was your second goal, and how have you done with your second goal?
Yeah, my second goal was to read translated books from other countries. I have currently read 9. I don't think I've read any more since the last update. Although I had read, I think, 2 right before that, so kind of on track. My goal was for 12.
Nice.
And I think 9 is a pretty good number to get to.
Yeah.
I looked at my reading goals for the last few years, or my reading logs for the last few years, and I had only read 5 translated books in the last 3 years. 2021 to 2023,
Wow.
I read 5 translation books in total. So reading 9 this year feels good. I think that was a good number. I think 12 was too ambitious. I think I was thinking like 1 book a month being translated, but didn't pan out that way. But I really enjoyed it. I think this is one that I will not make an official goal, but do try to keep in mind of reading more translated books, because I think there are really great books out there that we just don't get a chance to read because they're not translated. And then it's hard to look for translated books. That's the hard thing too, is like when I look for translated books, I get a list and they're all in very different genres that I might not read, like literary fiction or, nonfiction about World War II or something. Like, I don't want to read those books per se. So it's a little harder to find them, but I think it's worth it when you find really good ones. So
That's so true.
We'll probably keep this in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep this in my, mental notice of what I'm reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've also learned not to be over ambitious with my goals a little bit, because I'll talk about the next one, but that one also was 12 goals or 12 books. And I was like, what was I thinking? Trying to have 2 books per month be a part of my reading goals. That just is not going to happen. So I think I really need to drop down these numbers, and even reading a couple more than I did the year before is a success, I think. So I just need to not be crazy.
It's okay to be ambitious, but yeah.
It is. Yeah. But it's an assignment I made for myself, so it's not like I'm getting graded on it. All right, Hailey, what is your third goal?
My third goal was my Goodreads goal, which was 101 books, which was, we were just talking about being ambitious, and I think that was too ambitious.
Well, I think, to be fair, I think it's not ambitious for you to read 100 books, but with the year that you had, I think it's a rough year to read 100 books.
If you're just tuning into this series or this podcast and you haven't listened to any, or if I haven't really talked about it, literally this year I moved back across the country, back to my home state. We put our house up for sale. We still haven't sold our house. I've been living with my parents, which has been not fun. My parents ever hear this, they're probably gonna disown me, but listen, when you're almost 30 and you have to move, it's not like I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna move back into my parents. It was like, oh shit, I have nowhere else to go, so moving back. Yay. But yeah, and then I've had 2 job changes. I got a car. I've made a lot of life moves lately. It's just been it's been a year. It's been a crazy year. So yeah. To think, when I started this reading goal last year, mind you, on Goodreads, I didn't have a reading chat. I didn't really give myself a goal per se. But I read 44 books last year. And this year I've read 54 books. So, and I haven't
That's a really good number.
So actually I think it's 55 because I haven't tracked the 3rd book in the Bond series that I've been reading. I haven't logged it yet. And I'm already on book number 56. So who knows? And we still have time.
Good.
We still have 2.
That's really good.
How many more weeks? We still have, by the time of this one, 2 weeks left. Yeah. So, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a
101
good number.
books was ambitious.
Yeah. Yeah. 100 books a year is a lot for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound so stupid, but how many books is that? Well, 101 was my goal. Out of my 12. That was around 8 books a month, which for a while
You were right there.
I was right there. I was reading
Yeah.
about 7 books a month for like a hot minute for probably the first like 4 or 5 months of the year. So I was killing it.
Yeah. I'm looking at my list. So my number's inflated because I read a lot of comics that I don't keep track of, or that I keep track of like their books, but they're really, really short, obviously. So my total is 118.
Wow.
But my comics, well, this is not fully, this is kind of gritty. It's like probably 50 of those are comics. So it's like 60 books-ish.
That's still a lot.
That I read this year. So like we're right at about the same, you know, we're right about the same level. Because I think like reading 100 full, like 300 plus books a year, I did it once. Was it the first year I got back into reading? I think I did it. But yeah, that's tough. That's really, really tough. And I also like kind of, and not to bash on anybody who does the like number of books per year or whatever. It's not something that I enjoy doing anymore because I felt like I was reading small books to hit the goal. Like I was like, oh, I need to read 100 books this year. So I'm going to read a 200 page book instead of this 600 page book that I might like more. And so I kind of forced myself to stop. And I only keep track because of the spreadsheet, which is really hard it's hard to not keep track of how many books you read with the spreadsheet. But it gives me really other pretty graphs that I like. So I still keep with it. But yeah, it's, there's more to reading than the number of books you read a year.
I agree.
And if you really enjoyed 54 books versus forcing yourself to read 80 books that you didn't like as much, then did you really do any better? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think into the next year, I probably won't keep the 100. I probably will like cut my reading goal back down to like 50 or something. I feel like that 50 books is a pretty obtainable goal.
50 books is a good goal.
So, yeah.
Is that is this your first year ever doing a reading goal, like a book goal?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I haven't really been into reading, not that I haven't been into reading, but like I didn't get back into reading and be like serious about it until really this year. So
even when you were a kid, you didn't do like a yearly reading goal?
No, I just stuck to like the the what is it called, AR reading goal, because like I don't know if our listeners ever experienced this, but or if you did either, but like it was like the AR reading they had like milestones, and if you did like so many books in a year, then you got like a pizza party, or like you got to go to like a restaurant or whatever, and then you got like prizes as you would like log your books, and then like so many you would get. And I had like, you know, I had like the Star Reader and the da-da-da, like, so I was reading books. Trust me, I was reading books, but I wasn't tracking it. My little child brain was not a numbers girl just yet, so.
Yeah, I tracked for years.
Really?
I probably have tracked the majority of my reading life.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't really keep track during my like college undergrad years when I wasn't reading very much. I probably read like 2-3 books a year back then.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I had a summer reading list where I would read the books on my summer reading list and keep track of that. And then when Goodreads came out, I was super into it and I did it all the time. Yeah. So recently it's been I've been trying not to do it, but I've been keeping track of like how many books I read a year for quite a while.
Dang. I wonder how many books you've read like up to this point in your life, like in your lifetime.
I wish I could tally that, because that'd be really cool.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. If I still had my lists, I might be able to try it, but yeah, I couldn't even begin to guess.
Like 1,000? Do you think?
Probably.
Yeah? That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for the last 4 years,
Yeah.
my numbers have been around 100. Like the first year was 100 physical books, and then I've like incorporated more comics, so the number has kind of like gone up a little bit. So if you include those, like over the last 4 years, it's probably like 400 books. So,
Wow.
it's probably over 1,000
Wow.
in my life, I would say. Yeah, probably for you too. I'm
That's
sure.
cool. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. There's this.
Especially, I mean, I can't even remember like back in the day when like
Yeah.
I was reading Boxcar Kids and
Yes.
Animorphs and shit. Like
Oh my
you'd be
gosh.
pumping out 2 of those a week.
That's so funny that you brought up the boxcar because I just saw those. I was at Target the other day doing some Christmas shopping and I saw the boxcar children books and I thought that was so
No way, I haven't seen those
cool.
in so
I know.
long.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like what a throwback. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like made it my mission to read like as many Nancy Drew books as I could get my freaking
Yeah.
hands on in one year. I don't remember. It was like maybe like second, third grade. I don't know.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was one of those kids who was like, quote unquote, like reading at a higher level. So like I was just slamming books.
Same. Yeah.
But
Yep. Same exact thing over here.
yep.
Yep. Good. Well, I
Yeah.
think I think you hit your goal really
Thanks.
well. So, yeah. Good job.
Thanks. What's your next reading goal that you're
Yeah, my next one I think is one that I would say I haven't really accomplished. It's read more short stories, and I haven't read any more since the last time we talked. Well, that's not true. I guess I should caveat a little bit. So I was starting with short story collections, and I read 7 throughout the year. I did enjoy them. I had a couple horror ones. I had the best American sci-fi fiction and fantasy, which has kind of become something that I read every year.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do this because I love short stories when they're done really well. And I wanted to write a short story eventually and send it out. And I feel like short stories don't get a lot of attention. So I really wanted to kind of push myself to give them more attention. The problem is when I read a short story collection, I try to read one short story a day. And if there's more than 14, that means I can't check it out at the library because it'll get returned. So my fundamental dilemma as a reader is I need to be able to read short stories without having to buy a bunch of short story collections. So my actually this happened after our last reading goals update. I kind of looked into it, and there are podcasts that read short stories.
Oh, really?
The Uncanny Magazine podcast, Uncanny Magazine is a magazine that issues sci-fi and fantasy short stories.
Ooh.
They have a monthly newsletter where you can read their stuff for free. They also have a podcast where somebody narrates a short story and a poem. And you can just listen to it. And I have found that to be really fun. And I have started that in my repertoire. So now every month I read their short story, at least one, if not more, from their newsletter. So I've kind of found that. I haven't found a way to track those because I don't want to count. Those aren't full books in my opinion. So I don't know if I need to make another tab in my like book log or something. That's probably what I'll end up doing. I've already been thinking about it. But this is kind of a way for me to read short stories where I don't have the pressure of the library to return them to.
Yeah.
And I can still enjoy great work. And I read a really awesome one called The Year of No Sunlight that was fantastic. So I'm still getting new fiction, but I didn't really accomplish the goal that I wanted to this year. But I think with my new lesson learned and my hot book tip that I've figured out from other readers, I think this might make it more enjoyable for me. So I might turn this into a goal for next year too, but shift it a little bit to be adjustable to this new knowledge that I've procured.
That's really cool. I've always wondered about like podcasts and people like just reading books because what
is a podcast?
Yeah.
We should do a podcast.
Yeah. Podcast.
Yeah, what if we just read for like an hour every week?
Could you imagine? We had
Wait, even better. We just you and I read quietly to ourselves, and the blank empty noise is what we publish every week.
I think people would be so mad. It's just the sound. Oh my god. no one steal this idea, but it would be called Turning Pages, and it would just be the sounds of us turning the pages as we read silently.
I love that.
It's ASMR.
Yeah.
And the crunching of our snacks.
Yes. Yeah, and the sipping of our drinks.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh my god. Brilliant. Let's start it.
Yes. I have a suspicion this might exist in some form.
Probably. I'm sure.
I know people do it on TikTok where they do like read with me sessions or like YouTube or whatever. They'll do like read with me where they do like half an hour or whatever, and then they'll talk for a little bit and then do half an hour. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would feel too self-conscious if someone was listening to me. I'd be like, oh my god. I'm already self-conscious when we record, where I'm like, oh my god, don't freaking make weird mouth sounds. Don't sniff into the camera, or into the camera, into the mic. Yes. Yeah. And
it's true. It's true.
Those of our listeners can't see this, but I constantly like back away from the mic a lot so I can like get a good sniff in because my nose always runs when we record. So if you ever catch those, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Podcasting is weird because you don't realize what sounds you make with your mouth until you hear it back on audio, and it's like, oh my god, do I do this all the time?
You're like, oh my god, I hate it. Or like your voice.
Does everyone hate me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
All right, I think that was my last goal, or my goal. So Hailey, what's your next goal?
My next one, I think my last one, is I put that I have 8 books on my currently reading shelf that I don't know if I'll finish. Which, I don't know if I'll actually finish those. Actually, let me see if I have any more that are in there now, since I've been reading more books. Let me see here. I have 9 books am I currently reading.
Hey, one more than last time.
Yeah. Oh, that's because so it's because I didn't update my progress on the 3rd book. Of so the series. Yep. I'm still at 8 technically. Let me make sure. Yep. No, it says 9. What the fuck? Come on, Goodreads, get your shit together. Oh yeah, now it's back down to 8. Yeah. Does anyone want to know? Okay, I'll share 7 of the books that are in my currently. You're getting the sneak peek, the look behind the curtain.
Let's do it.
The book "How to Bite Your Neighbor and Win a Wager." I got really far into that book, and I just haven't picked it back up. "Check and Mate" by Ali Hazelwood. I have the physical copy sitting on my bookshelf. I started it, have not finished it. Need Me by Tessa Bailey. I started it, didn't finish it, which I still need to finish it. And mind you, all of these books I will be finishing. I literally just have not I just haven't had the time, or like I just need to go back to them. The Stand-In by Lily Chu. Listen, I've been meaning to pick that book up so much lately, but I think I can't remember if I downloaded it on my phone or if it's on my Kindle, but if it's on my phone, then I literally just haven't had time to get back into it. Then Caraval, the Caraval series.
Yeah.
Listen, it starts out so good, and I just have not, again, I think I just got out of my like fantasy books. So yeah. And then The God Killer, Fallen Gods by Hannah Kaner. Haven't finished it. Started it, haven't finished it. Got really far into it, didn't finish it. It's just one of those like things where I just like get wrapped up in other. I think it's ADHD, to be completely honest. I don't say that like hyperbole. I actually am diagnosed officially with ADHD, so yeah, it's like an actual thing. And then I don't want to talk about the other 2 because I don't want to. talk about it.
Fair. That's fair.
So you get 6 books. That's 8. Sorry.
Well, I'll throw one in. So Haley and I are very different in this regard. If I'm not actively reading a book, I DNF it. If you don't know what that means, it means did not finish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're done to me.
You're done.
Yeah. And then if I want to read it, I'll pick it back up from the beginning because for one, my memory is like shit. So like if I put down a book for more than like a week, I basically forget everything that happened in the book. So I have to like start over.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I
suck.
think it's from like grad school, like just like at some point I just realized my brain can't fit stuff anymore, and now I just like don't remember anything ever.
There's no
my
room.
wife hates it.
Aww.
Yeah, it's like there's post-it notes of random things everywhere, and if I don't have a to-do list, I don't get anything done during the day. Like it's terrible. It's absolutely horrific. So I really have a terrible memory, and I really have to keep the book active in my brain. And so I had two. I had the history book that I think I talked about on air. It was the one where I was in Boston and I read it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was about like the Boston Massacre and all that stuff.
Yep.
I finally DNF'd it because I was like, I'm not going to go back to this book.
Just never.
And if I do, I might pick that one up where I left it because I stopped at it like a part, which was nice. And then I DNF'd a book that I set aside when I started Dungeon Crawler Carl that I didn't talk about on the podcast. It's called Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson, and I enjoyed it. I got to the halfway point, and I was kind of thinking, man, this book is like taking longer than I feel like it should. And then my hold came in for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and that was it. I was like, and I still have it technically. It's still on hold, but I don't think I'm going back to it. And especially now that I started the pairing, it's getting DNF'd. So maybe I'll read it again someday, but it's not going to happen this year. Yeah, honestly, probably not.
Probably not.
Sorry, Neil Stevenson. I actually like some of your books, but this one, yeah.
Sometimes
it wasn't for me.
Yeah, it just doesn't jive. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think it's the book. I think it's me not being in the right headspace for the book right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's how I usually think about books. It's like, I'm not in the right headspace for this. Like, I'm not ready to interact with this book yet. Maybe I will be someday, but I'm not ready right now.
It's a good way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah. Yay.
All right, what's your last?
So no, I'm not currently reading 10 books. That was the point of my story.
Right, we're not currently reading that many books. We're just reading what we're reading.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What's your last goal?
Yeah, my last goal is to read more romance because, for one, I kind of bashed on the romance genre for a long time. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago if I would ever read a romance book, I'd probably say no. And I have learned this year, I am not a romance reader. I'll be honest, Haley, I haven't told you this yet, but the second book for the Lila Sage came in. Oh, yeah. And I honestly had no desire to read it.
That's okay.
And I enjoyed the first one, but I think I got what I needed out of the first book, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair.
I know where the rest of the story is going to go. I enjoyed it for what it was. Am I going to read the second one again? I might read the second one someday.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm going to read it right now. And I think that's true for me for a lot of romance. It's like I can enjoy it every once in a while. It's usually a really good palate cleanser between the really disgusting grim books that I read. Especially like when I get into that horror rut where I'm just reading nothing but god awful horror books, like god awful in the sense of they're really horrific, not in the sense that they're bad books. So I like romance as palate cleansers. I think I like romantasy in certain situations. I feel like if it's got a fantasy element, I'm into it more. And if it's like a quirky romance fiction, like this Casey McQuiston or the Emily Henrys, I think I enjoy those, but I'm certainly not going to make romance my number one genre. I'm definitely a horror, sci-fi, fantasy person, and that's what I've learned about myself this year. And so romance does have a place in my reading life. It's just not the major player.
Yeah. Ain't no shame in the game.
No. But I've read, if you include the Casey McQuiston that I just started, I'm on 8 romance books.
Let's go.
So I feel good about that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And like, like some genres just aren't for everybody, and like some genres are like fun to dabble in, but they don't have to be your main squeeze, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
I
like
think,
thrillers.
Yeah, thrillers or like historical fiction. Every once in a while I read a really good historical fiction and I think, oh, this is like me now. I'm a historical fiction reader. And then I read another one. I'm like, oh,
You're like,
I'm
just
not
kidding.
actually. Yeah, sorry, psych.
I take it back.
Take it back. I did hear about, I guess we could talk about it for a second,
Yeah.
but Barnes & Noble's book of the year is called James, and I'm forgetting the author. And it's a Huck Finn retelling.
Ooh.
From the perspective of the slave boy.
Yes.
And I've seen this book all over the place. I have not even given it a second glance because I'll be honest, the cover doesn't do much for me. But after hearing what it's about, I'm super interested in this book, and I think I'm going to like it. So I'm going to give it a shot when I get it off hold.
Okay. I typed in James into Goodreads, and I don't know what I was expecting. But the first two books are 50 Shades of Grey and James and the Giant Peach.
No, that's so funny. Why 50 Shades of Grey of all books?
I think because the authors like L. James or James E.L. or something.
E.L. James.
Yeah.
E.L. James. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I will admit that I was not a part of the 50 Shades of Grey. What's the word?
Like fandom.
Yeah, fandom or like the hype. I wasn't there for it. The movies aren't horribly terrible, but
I was there for it. I read them all.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Read them all.
Let's go.
And I watched the movies. Well, yeah, I think I watched all of them. Yeah, I enjoyed the books.
Yeah, they weren't terrible.
They didn't deserve the hate they got for a lot of people.
No, I think like the only thing that I ever heard that I I don't know, like I don't want to say that I agree with it for certain reasons, but I heard from quite a bit of a certain community that it was not very accurate to that community.
I heard that too.
And they were a little annoyed by it, which like I can understand that. I can be like, okay, that's fair. Because I feel like some people just like it's one of those communities that gets a lot of like what's the word? Like over dramatization, I guess. And there's some like misinformation. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Some misinformation that occurs. And yeah. So but I liked the movies. I thought that they were good. I like the main character.
I do too. I like the girl, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I almost said good. Dakota Fanning, but I was like, that is not the right person.
Yeah.
But
it's good. Yeah, they're good. I think they're fine. Percival Everett is the author for James. That is the book everybody's talking about right now.
I was just looking it up.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like literary fiction, which is something that I also dabble in. And I kind of have to like read one literary fiction book, and then I read like 5 genre fiction books, then I read the one literary fiction, then I read 5 genre fiction. So like I know this about myself. I'm very much a genre fiction reader. I do kind of like the highbrow books every once in a while, like the quote unquote read in a cafe, fancy ass books once in a while. Yeah. And I feel like this James book kind of has a like pretentiousness to it.
Yeah.
But it needs to be after I read a lot of other like horrifically terrible horror books and crazy weird sci-fi books. So after the third Dungeon Crawler Carl book, I'll feel like I can read this literary fiction book.
Like, yes, that was the time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. With the cat Princess Donut, saving the world. Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. It's such a fun series. I'm having so much fun with it.
That sounds so good. And every time you say Carl, I can't help but think of Carl.
From Jimmy Neutron?
No, the llamas eating hands. The llamas in party hats? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Someone at work mentioned that too.
Really?
Every time I think of Carl, I'm thinking of Carl from Walking Dead.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, when it's actually a really sad scene. I won't spoil it, but yeah. And then it got turned into a meme.
Oh, the internet.
Yeah, what a great place.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not dangerous at all.
So full of wonders.
Yes. Yes. All right. Did we do all our goals? I think we did.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So I feel like we did really well this year.
I agree.
I'm really excited to see how we do next year. And it's been great to reflect on the year. I might put parts of my Excel sheet out for people to look at if they want to. When the reading sheet comes out for Book Riot, I'll probably talk about it a little bit in our beekeeping section because I love to look at it. And then Hailey and I have been talking about it a little bit, but I think we're going to have our own reading challenge for next year that's Books and Bees specific. So look out for that. It'll probably be in a couple weeks.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. And if you'd like to tell us how you did for your reading goals this year, you can give us an email. You can send us an email. Don't give us an email. Just send it to us.
Email.
Yeah. It's booksandbeespod@gmail.com. If you want to message us on Instagram, it's @booksandthebeespod, which I have not been touching for a long time.
I'm so sorry.
It's 100%. I honestly hate social media with a burning passion. I went back onto Twitter the other day.
God.
And it's like
Cesspool.
crazy Republican right now. And I was like, I don't need to be here. So
no, I get it. I think I've been feeling the same where I just it's been bad.
Yeah, we're sorry that we're not good on
so
social media.
Sorry.
But yeah. It's just like I just have no desire to look at social media anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And life has been really busy for me, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Instagram is a lot of work specifically.
It's so much work. I don't think that anybody actually understands how much work it is until you're like trying to curate your like Instagram and stuff and like make it look nice and aesthetically pleasing. It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It's hours.
It's
literally hours of work. Yeah. It's tough.
But I'm going to be better about it, I promise.
And we have one. So
yes, so please give it a follow. Interact with us.
As we bash social media.
I'm so sorry.
And we also want to give a shout out to the American Indie for the use of their song Rendezvous. It's the intro and outro to our podcast. I'm gonna message them.
Yeah.
Instagram and say, hey, we've used your song for a whole year.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I don't think they know we exist. But
they're like, who the hell are you?
We appreciate it. And we appreciate you, listener. It's almost been a whole year since we've been starting the podcast. We're only 4 episodes away from our 1-year anniversary.
Crazy.
So if you feel like we've been doing a great job this year, you should give us a review on your podcast listening app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever it is. We love it. It helps us. It costs you nothing. It takes about 30 microseconds, round up or down, maybe a little bit there. But yeah, give us a review. It really does help us. And in the new year, we're hoping to grow the hive mind. So this helps a lot. Okay. Hailey, do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Me either.
All right. We hope you enjoyed this literary journey as much as we did. If you're buzzing with excitement, don't forget to subscribe, email us, and leave a high 5-worthy review on your podcast listening app. Until next time, happy reading, and may your shelves be filled with tales as enchanting as a blooming garden. Keep the buzz alive, and we'll catch you in the next chapter. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.